రెడ్డి కరోనా చికిత్సపై ప్రస్తుతం మాట్లాడుతున్నారు మీడియాతో లైవ్ లో చూద్దాం.
Tezepelumab and imidivimab are two vials coming together, and both of them should be mixed to be given to the patient. Now, I'll tell you why to be mixed. First, coming to the concept of monoclonal antibodies, this is a very old concept but has been used predominantly for diagnosis and treatment of certain non-infectious disease. COVID is one of the third infectious disease that is being treated by these monoclonal antibodies. Basically, when we get an infection with this virus or any bacteria, we produce antibody against this. Normally, these antibodies are present in the convalescent plasma, and we have been giving this to the patient. But unfortunately, in convalescent plasma, it's in a very diluted form. So what scientists have done is they've taken out high concentration of these antibodies of monoclonal nature. That means they're coming from a single clone, monoclonal. They're cloned between a cell which is producing this antibody and another type of cell, for example, myeloma cells, which rapidly divide. So when the DNA is put into these cells, these antibodies are produced in a large quantities. They are pure antibodies which are coming out with high concentration. And these monoclonal antibodies against corona have specific action against the receptor, against certain receptors on the spike protein. For example, the spike protein S1, S2 in the coronavirus is responsible for it getting attached to the ACE2 receptors in the body and entering the body. So what these antibodies does is it goes and specifically binds to a site in this spike protein and prevents the spike protein from entering into the body. So when they first produce these monoclonal antibodies, they produce a single kind of monoclonal antibodies binding at a single site of the spike protein. But soon a realization came that a single protein may be risky because the virus can escape this and produce escape mutants. So now what the companies have done and what is recommended by the federal agencies is to give two monoclonal antibodies. That's why we have two, Kesarivimab and Imidivimab. There are two different monoclonal antibodies binding at different sites of the spike protein, so that if one fails, the other one is active. And one of them will be active so that the virus cannot enter the body. So this is the actual mechanism and concept of how these monoclonal antibodies act. Now, this monoclonal antibody became very famous last year when the President Trump, United States, was given this antibody in late last year when he developed the infection. And it looked like that in 2 days' time he recovered and immediately he went back to work. Since then, there's been a lot of inquiries and a lot of studies have been done. There are two major studies which have been published in the New England Journal of Medicine, where these antibodies have been used in outpatient settings, and they've shown that patients with mild to moderate disease, when these antibodies are used, do not go into severe disease. It blocks them from going to severe disease. They recover very fast. I'll come into the specificities of these studies. The other study that was done with this is in patients who are hospitalized, who require oxygen, who require steroids and so on. In this group of patients, it has been shown that these monoclonal antibodies are not effective. They are not effective and should not be used. So the main group of patients against which these antibodies are shown to be very effective is patients with mild, moderate disease who are actually not yet hospitalized, but in whom this disease can be prevented to go into severity by giving these antibodies. So the question now comes is, we know that many of the patients with coronavirus have very mild, COVID-19 have very mild disease, they spontaneously respond. So how can we know which patients to give these antibodies and so on? The reason why this is important is we should not use, I want to emphasize, these antibodies should not be used indiscriminately. We are getting a lot of calls from this morning to the hospital saying, you have antibodies, can we come and take it? It is not like a vaccine. It should not be used indiscriminately. One, of course, is the cost factor. The cost comes to about 70,000 rupees to give both the doses. That is one factor. The second factor is some side effects I'll come to later. So this has to be used carefully. So what are the indications of these antibodies? These monoclonal antibodies should be used with certain indications. This is given by the NIH, National Institute of Health, which we are also following, which is recommended by the manufacturer also. First of all, patients above the age of 65 years. patients who are obese with a body mass index of more than 35, patients having chronic kidney disease, patients having diabetes mellitus which is not controlled, any immunocompromised situation, that is patients having cancer or other diseases which are immunocompromised or taking immunosuppressive drugs for some disease. For example, patients with inflammatory bowel disease will take immunosuppressive drugs. These patients should be given. And those patients above the 55 years of age who have cardiovascular disease, hypertension, or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Now, so these are the indications. We can also give this to children above the age of 12 years, especially if any of the indications are there. So these are specific indications. Now, in whom we should not give is we should not give these monoclonal antibodies to those who are hospitalized on oxygen, on ventilator, or in having multi-organ failure. These people will not respond to monoclonal antibodies. These antibodies should be given usually before 1 week. That is, after the contact of the virus to 1 week period is effective period. Usually we give this within 3 days after testing positive. If somebody's RT-PCR is testing positive, we give these antibodies within 3 days, but not later than 7 days. If we give it later than 7 days, these antibodies are not effective. So what we are presuming is that all the indications I told you, severe diabetes, kidney failure, or obese people, if they develop this virus infection, we have found that they can go into severe disease. To prevent the severe disease, we give these antibodies as a prophylaxis so that they do not go into severe disease. And what have we found? We have found that if we give these antibodies and test the virus by RT-PCR, within 3-4 days, the virus levels are coming down. And within 7 days, the people are becoming negative for the virus. That is, suppose you test RT-PCR, the virus levels are very high. Immediately we give these monoclonal antibodies. Within 3 days, the virus levels becomes half, and by 7 days it disappears. That means it's very effective in eliminating the virus. But as I said, it only should be used against this specific group of patients. The other thing is that now that this is going to be available freely and people take it, after taking this, can we take the vaccine? No. Once you take monoclonal antibodies, you should not take a vaccine at least for 3 months. Only after 3 months, the vaccine will be effective. So wait for 3 months before the vaccine is given, because these antibodies will neutralize the vaccine. The efficacy of vaccine goes down. So you should not take this vaccine at least for 3 months. Similarly, if you are recovered from COVID infection, you need not take these monoclonal antibodies. There's no need of taking the vaccine with antibodies. We don't advocate these antibodies in pregnancy at present because we are not sure of the effect. All the lactating mothers can take, but pregnancy we are not advocating it. So this is also very important, and it is believed that you can also take it as a prophylaxis. For some reason, you can't take the vaccine, but you are going to get heavy exposure to coronavirus. You are a healthcare worker or somebody in military, you have to go and get exposed. In that case, this can be used as a prophylaxis for a short period. For next 1 or 2 months, these antibodies will protect you against the virus, which is not a standard indication, but in future can become the indication. What we are worried as a medical profession is going to be indiscriminate use of these antibodies. We should not use them indiscriminately. First of all, this will create a shortage, number one. It should be used only when it's indicated. Number two, if you use this indiscriminately, it can produce multiple mutant strains, escape strains we call them. So if then these antibodies will not be effective. The virus is very intelligent. It can actually find out where these antibodies are effective. It changes its configuration. So the antibody no longer be effective. So that's the reason why we should not use indiscriminately, just like we should not use antibiotics indiscriminately in bacterial infection because bacteria develop resistance. You should not use this indiscriminately. The other thing is rarely you can have an antibody enhanced reaction because antibodies of this nature of the body, the virus can become very aggressive. Rarely this is seen, but this is very rare. In general, the side effects of this is very less. We have found that some patients are developing a little itching. Some patients are developing some nausea, little vomiting, but usually it goes off. We are giving this in two forms. We are giving it in IV, 600 milligrams of each. We give 600 milligrams of each of these vials mixed in IV fluids and give it over a period of 1 hour time. We can also give it subcutaneously also in the patient. So it's much easier to give it subcutaneously. Even as outpatient we can give this. And after we give this, we keep the patient for 1 hour in observation, then they can go back. One of the most crucial questions that we are studying at AAG now is how effective is this monoclonal antibodies which we have imported from US against the Indian strain. We know that the Indian mutant strain, more than 60% of our patients are having this mutant strain, the double mutant or so-called B111, the mutant strain that we are having. So how effective against this Indian mutant strain is this virus? This virus has not been tested against this B1617 strain, so we do not know. It has been tested in United States, these monoclonal antibodies against some of the mutant strains in US coming from Brazil, South Africa and England, and local mutants, and has been found to be effective in most of them, partially effective when there is a major mutation. But because we are dealing with double mutation, we have to be very careful whether this is effective or not. So in AAG, we are doing a major study now, testing these antibodies against our mutant strain. And we will have this answer soon. Because if this is not effective against Indian strain or not very effective, then we should not use it in large scale fashion. We have to be very careful. So once our study comes out, we'll know definitely how effective this is, whether it's 100% effective or 50% effective against the Indian mutant strain. And this is an important information that we are gathering. So that's the reason why we are again advising all the people across the country not to use this indiscriminately, to use this monoclonal antibodies very carefully only when there's an indication. It is one of the Brahmastras that we have. It's a very effective modality, but we should be very careful when using it. And also in the Indian situation, we have to evaluate it carefully to see how effective it is against the Indian variants before widespread use also comes. So we thought we'll share with you some of this information because right from today we've been using this drug and we're getting a lot of requests from both the patients and from the medical fraternity wanting to know about this medication. So we thought we should put the record straight and tell you this information. I'll be glad to take any questions that you have.
నాగేశ్వర రెడ్డి గారు